Welcome, everybody, to the Tapped Out Podcast Network. I'm Nick McDaniel. He's Myron Fancher. Man, how the heck are you, buddy?
I'm doing good. How about you, man?
Can't complain. We're in the home stretch here for Thanksgiving.
Yes.
We had to do our, believe it or not, we did our Thanksgiving Saturday, last Saturday. So we got that out of the way. Kids came over on Sunday. Well, not all of them, but a couple of the kids came over and we put the tree up, put the decorations up. We're done. We talked a little bit off air why, like, next week's going to be a little hectic, so we wanted to get it all done and out of the way. So, now we're going to hit on cruise control and
I'm glad your family's there to work on it with you. That's beautiful. I got to get my John Cena Christmas tree ornament on that I've shown so many times on the show. I've got to get that up on the tree when we put ours up. I cannot forget. The last time is now. It's the last time. John Cena will be on the Christmas tree as an active wrestler. Imagine that.
Hey, did you see before we get started that who was it that said they didn't believe it?
Christmas?
CJ Perry, Lana. She said that she thought the whole thing was a gimmick. The whole last time is now a gimmick. Whatever.
Now how are they going to kill me with these heartfelt John Cena interviews? These clips they are giving me.
Oh, I don't believe
me during the show, and it's so beautiful. It's so touching. Even my wife is touched by the whole thing. She's telling me about how great she thinks John Cena is. And they're going to do that? No way.
Hey, I do want to ask you, we're going to put a button in it because there is something specifically that I think a lot of people are pushing back on today. But before we do that, we want to remind everybody, I want to make a kind of a twofold thing. You should sign up for our Patreon, patreon.com/tappedoutpod. You guys know the routine. $1 level it gets you show notes. $5 gets you the weekly show early. The weekly shows early. Easy for me to say. $10 gets you anything we do early, and the digital version of the Tapped Out collectible. And the $25 gets you the 8.5 by 11 physical copy signed by us. It's a different version every single month. This past particular month, I mailed out the November ones. They went out, so I released the digital version as well. 1 in a Billion, Satnam Singh. He was, for the month of November. I've already lined up December's. You're going to be very happy, I think, with December's as well. But I did get some bad news today. I was going to do a Black Friday sale. I was going to do 20% off. I talked about it on the other show, and lesson learned, don't speak until you look at, some technology-wise. Patreon, I took it off. Like, I can't do an annual discount. Like, it only lets me do 1 month at a time for a discount now. Not really sure what happened or why. I know at one point you could. So I can't do the annual. I was going to do 20% off. I'm sorry. I just can't. But
what if you send everyone who signs for an annual membership an autograph signed picture of me?
Do a cartoon version of it, like the Tapped Out collectibles version.
I think that would be worth it. I think just a picture of me on your wall. I think that would much be worth getting that yearly membership, folks.
I agree, but look, I apologize about that. I'm going to try to come up with something. We're recording on Tuesday. Obviously, the Patreon comes out on Wednesday, and comes out on public on Thanksgiving. This week's episode, the one this one. So hopefully by then I've figured out something that I can do. So I just wanted to apologize for that part. That's just kind of they've thrown a monkey wrench, in there, and I don't know what to do. I'll figure it out and see if there's something else that we can do. But without further ado, man, let's get into the kind of the weekly talk here. Obviously, we always start with the opening segment. What caught our eye on TV this week, man?
The Shock Lesnar, Nick, or is it the Brockmaster? Busting his butt coming out. He tore his pants earlier in the year. Brock Lesnar laughing makes me horribly uncomfortable. I don't know why that happens to me, Nick. When he's all like, ha ha, I fell down, that makes me horribly uncomfortable. I don't like him as that character.
I think he's just...
he's not a human being. He's the beast incarnate, not somebody that can slip or tear his pants.
Yeah, but, I mean, it also it is good to know maybe... He laughed for one or two reasons, obviously, right? Either he was so embarrassed that it was the uncomfortable laugh, or this is the one that I choose to believe. Brock Lesnar doesn't give a shit what people think, and he doesn't take himself too serious to now. Like, do I think, 10, 15, 20 years ago, he would have 100%. I just think maybe now he's older. He, hopefully he's a little more mature. and he just kind of doesn't really care. And it's just like, because you know what? In hindsight, in the moment, he may even probably thought, okay, that's going to look funny.
Yeah.
And that's why he laughed, and they just went on and did their business anyway. Nothing changed.
Well, I mean, it really livened up a slow Monday promo, you know.
It's a rough week, man. Now hold on, let's back up and give a little credit. I thought the one on SmackDown was good. Cody cut the it's his birthright.
Yes,
Duster he created. Yeah, but dude, what the hell was that about?
the birthright. I love that part.
Yeah. So he gave a really good promo, a lot of heart. Everything. The emotion was there. So I was kind of like, hey, I really like this one. And then to answer your question, like you talked about a little bit, man, the one on Raw was a little bit of a chore to get through. That opening promo was just a rough one. But I did want to ask you, I think there might be one little thing if you pay attention. At the very end, I had to go all the way to the end to get what I was looking for, right? Is there dissension between those three, the big three? Jimmy and Jay kind of are on an island. Here's the problem. Jimmy and Jay are on an island, and they're friends with, all three parties involved for the most part.
Is it the island of relevancy? I don't know what's going to happen with all this, Nick. You were saying, man, I think there's going to be a turn. And I'm like, oh, is it this guy? And you're like, or is it going to be, are they going to do this? I don't know. I'm really, really wanting to see this. And it's a weird time that I'm going to be home on Saturday, most likely. I'm not going to be able to get a ride because you're going to be out of town. Can't get a ride over to Carrollton to see the premiere show. I'll be sitting at home watching this. The women's show, I'm going to watch for the brutality. The men's match, I'm going to watch, right. I think something weird is going to happen. There's some kind of undercurrent. Punk, Roman, Cody, the Usos. That might be your wild card. It's got me. I mean, yes. I'm going to admit, their television has been draggy lately. Even NXT has been kind of meh. But, I mean, my highlights have been the Nia Jax intros. I'm not going to lie. I love Nia Jackson street clothes coming out there like that.
It ain't bad. But, look, they did a good job with the women's. I loved between SmackDown and Raw. They did a good job of assembling that team, I felt.
Yes.
Making them feel back like a team. They kind of fell off there for a week or so. But I think the big thing, I think the WarGames women's match is going to be more of a straight WarGames, fair. Yeah. Men's, I think we're probably good. And we'll get into a minute. You know what? Let's save some of that conversation because we're going to dive into the WarGames match by match or whatever. Because I obviously, personally, Raw's, it's a rough Raw when the highlight of the night is Dominik Mysterio and John Cena. I mean, Little Stu, his little cameraman was with him as well. Dude, I won't lie to you. We had gone to bed by the time this segment happened. And so I've got it on and we're watching it or whatever. And then the music hit and Rachel looks up because she's reading the book. She's reading the book and she hears this thing. She's like, wait, I thought he didn't have any more. And I'm like,
yes.
And I just kind of shook my head. I'm like, yeah, no, this is not going to go well because they are not giving away another appearance that they did not announce.
I was so excited. And then,
John Cena. I will not tell you. I cannot tell you enough.
Weird looking little guy too.
I cannot tell you enough. When Dom kicked him, Rachel was like, "Oh!" It literally caught her off guard. It was so funny that I just laughed. Because I was sitting there going I know this is coming. Because when he leaned forward, he was like, when he starts talking trash, and he's like, "That's not part of the plan." You could hear him, And I'm like, oh, this is going to end bad for this little dude. It's just not going to go well. And it did not.
Yes, it did not because Dominik is so good, Nick. You saw that he was rated best, was it ESPN? Not just some wrestling rag. ESPN rated him the top wrestler under 30. And I agree.
With all due respect, ESPN, when they're talking about wrestling, they're a wrestling dirt sheet too.
They're a Well, actually, no, they're kind of a source. They're a company dirt sheet
Yeah.
because now they run on there. God Almighty, everything's a dirt sheet from the regular news to ESPN now.
All right. You want to get me on my sidebar on ESPN for a minute?
Go ahead.
Okay. For one, they gave the PLEs bad reviews, so they're at least trying to keep it honest. Whoever's writing those articles.
Hmm.
But I was talking to a friend, and we were having a conversation about ESPN in general. And look, I get we like Disney. They do a lot of content that we enjoy. But Disney killed ESPN, as far as I'm concerned.
Elaborate, please.
Because ESPN is no longer about analyzing and breaking down or whatever. Now it's just sheer go out there, have a hot take, be funny, like go, argue with each other, debate. It's basically it's one debate show after another, and even to the point, it's an entertainment show. It's not a sports show anymore.
It's a sports entertainment.
And the hilarious part of it was recently on Pat McAfee. No, it wasn't Pat McAfee show. It was another show, and it was a podcast that I listened to. And there's a guy who used to be on ESPN outright said, like they were like, hey, we should take issue with what this former Cam Newton said something, and he just went, I don't even think Cam believes it. And they're like, what do you mean? He goes, I just know how that show works.
Somebody wrote a promo.
No, they were like, in the back, this is what this guy thinks. You cannot have four guys sit at a desk and go, first guy makes a comment, and the second guy goes, yep, that's right, I agree with that. The third guy goes, yep, I agree. Fourth guy goes, I agree. That's boring as shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're like, listen, I know you don't think this, but could you just argue the other side just for argument's sake? And the guy's like, sure. You know what I mean? And like, and that's so basically, it's not even about being a sports guy anymore. It's about like, can y'all get on there and argue with each other for an hour, 2 hours, or whatever the show is.
Entertainment, sports entertainment.
Yeah. By the way, that's what a lot of wrestling podcasts are. A lot of wrestling shows. A lot of wrestling.
Oh, sometimes we've been known to do that. I've been known to lie about professional wrestling, but
you know, it's a work. Hey, let's just go ahead and jump into it a little bit, man. Get into the War Games. We were talking about, obviously the men's Punk, Cody, Jimmy J, and Roman versus Brock, Bronson, Logan, and Drew. The heels do have the advantage. That was determined, obviously, on Raw Monday. By the way, the women the faces have the advantage, right? So here's my argument. What fun is that? I thought the heels always had to have the advantage.
I like the heel advantage thing. That's one thing I'll give the women's. What do they call it? What does AEW call it again? Sorry,
blood and guts.
Blood and guts match. They went out there and got some blood and guts real quick. They got over. They got that. That's one thing I liked about that. The women got out there. The heels got over, and they built drama. And I think good guys coming in first just doesn't build as much drama. But the women carry this, man. The women carry this very well. I think they're doing that whole Charlotte Flair and Rhea thing where we worked that out and we're going to be friends for this. I'm not trying to insult women, but it's more believable when women do dramatic stuff and emotional stuff because they carry it better, in my opinion. I think sometimes it's a stretch for men to do that kind of thing. The women's match, I like it. I'm looking forward to it, but the baby face in first is something they're going to really have to work hard to overcome.
So. And they may do a great job. Who knows? I mean, look, time will tell, how that plays out. But I think they will be the more athletic match, if that makes it, more of a wrestling, the wrestling psychology of it, of the two matches. I think you could be a little more violent with the participants that are in the men's. By the way, we're not getting near, I don't think, I could be totally wrong, I don't foresee half as much blood and guts in these War Games than we got out of AEW's blood and guts matches, and they were even on TV.
If I got an eighth as much blood, I think it would be about, for WWE level and WWE fans, I think about an eighth as much blood would be correct for this. And
I think, by the way, you're going to get it in the men's if you get it.
Yeah, like a hard way, not a legitimate blade. Maybe just an axle bust open.
Could be. And then back to something we were talking about when we were talking about the TV. What caught our eye on TV a little bit. If you want to blindside us, cool. That would be awesome. Punk, if there is a turn, I think Punk's the turn, right? And I'm saying if they are, it's Punk, because of Punk's not dabbing up Cody over the last couple of weeks. That's been kind of a thing there. That opening promo where they're showing all of the tensions between the three. If we don't get a turn, because here's the thing, I'm going to ask you: is Roman a babyface or a heel?
He's like a Samoan Steve Austin right now. He hasn't really done much lately. He doesn't wrestle that much. Could there be a Paul turn? Could the Samoans lock in together? Could they become super factionated again and leave the good other baby faces in the ring to face all that damage?
He pointed out before they were Cody's army, they were his bloodline, right? He made sure he understood that.
Mm-hmm.
I love the tease, and I hope this is kind of where we're going eventually. Roman teasing that that belt would look good on my shoulder, because he carried that WWE title for so long. That world title was not one that he had.
Mm-hmm. But when he walked out, and neither guy was like, which belt is he talking about? That was pretty good.
And then he said, I'll let y'all figure that out, kind of thing. Here's my hopes. Let's do Punk Roman. And the reason I say that is I'm not ready for Cody Roman Part 3.
Or 8.
Unless, what if it's Cody who's the one who turns? Has Cody been there long enough? Think about, at least they have us thinking. Has Cody been there long enough to be a turn? Yes. Will they turn him? I still don't know that they will. I still think he sells probably way too much merch and whatever.
I think the vodka deal's the big deal. I think he and the podcast. Having that big podcast and having that big vodka deal keeps him babyface.
The podcast, I don't think so, because they've done so much now where, Paul Heyman was on Stephanie's podcast and was all chuckles and, lovey, I respect, I love, okay. I think Punk just is a natural. The problem I have, Punk's more of a natural heel. I just don't know that the fans are ready to boo him. So we're kind of torn. Is Roman ready to go back to being a full-fledged heel? But Roman's like, hey, I'm not a heel. I'm not a babyface. I just do what I do, and they choose if they're going to cheer me or not.
I'm just ready to watch this pay-per-view.
Last point I want to bring up. The only reason there's a huge speculation out there, if you haven't seen this conspiracy theory, tinfoil hats going on. Conspiracy theory, Nick, saw this and goes, that is a great point. Pull up the WWE poster that they've got out now where they're all sitting around the poker table playing cards. In the background, you can see Paul Heyman like he's looking at Triple H saying something. Cody Rhodes has brought up a point. Every time you line one of them up, I knock them down. Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns. There's only 4 there's 4 dudes at the table. It's Cody and Punk on the other side. It's Punk next for Cody. That's the he's like, because the way Paul Heyman and Triple H are looking at Punk in that poster, is it set to be?
That would be interesting. That would definitely be interesting. Now would be the time to go ahead and set it up.
Would you be interested in them unifying the belts at WrestleMania with Punk versus Cody?
I think right now, with them going to a 3-hour SmackDown, I think the unified belts might be too hard to do. Because you're going to need that champion on both 3-hour shows a week. or do those spots where he's not on either one of them.
Are there too many titles? 1,000%. We'll come back to that when we get in our AEW conversation. But WWE's got too much. But I understand, because if they would ever stick to the brand split, it would make more sense, in my opinion. But that's just me.
The best title WWE has, in my opinion, is the women's tag team title, because they use it everywhere. And they use it creatively to put people over. They built that whole Alexa Bliss and Charlotte thing with it. Okay, that was a whole gimmick selling merchandise. They use it in NXT when they need to. That's the best usable title they have right now, in my opinion.
One of the hottest titles right now, John Cena is your Intercontinental Champion. He's going to face, Dominik Mysterio for the Intercontinental title. Basically, it's it's John Cena's next to last match.
The last PLE technically match, pay-per-view match, whatever you want to call it. I'm super excited to see what Dom has up with this. Dom has a whole faction. That's always a heel. He's a heel with a faction. He did the midget gimmick, and God, that was good. Okay.
I think at the end of the day, Dom has to get his belt back. Here's the thing. Yeah. I could be wrong, but it doesn't make any sense otherwise. Or does it?
Well, he's got a big run coming up in AAA too.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he'd be better carrying that belt down there along with his AAA belt.
Or we're going to do this all for the whole show. It feels like it's going to be a constant. Or do you shock everybody and let John Cena keep it, and now the tournament ends up being an Intercontinental title match on Saturday Night Main Event for John Cena's last match?
Woo!
Because
that's good television.
Look, we're going to skip. Nikki Bella's getting a title shot. Don't know why. We're not going to go down that rabbit hole. We'll leave that match be. Because let's talk about the last time is now tournaments, that's coming in. Because I want to segue into these two things tying together.
Spoiler.
Yeah, there is a little bit of a spoiler here. If you want to you want to skip for a couple minutes, just kind of keep that in mind. The semifinals are set now based on tapings and some things that have happened. Jey Uso versus LA Knight and Solo Sikoa versus Gunther. Weird. Kind of two baby faces and two heels facing each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of an awkward, weird thing just unusual. But I said all that to say, I wanted to come back with John Cena could very well retain the Intercontinental title, take that title into the Saturday Night Main Event, his last match will be a title defense, and all things are pointing. We keep coming. We said this last week, by the way. Gunther looks like your odds-on favorite. Here's why I could justify him being the Intercontinental Champion going into that last match now. Gunther's not being put back. Right now, those two dudes that were on Raw, and SmackDown in the ring with those world titles and the title on the shoulders, he's not moving into a program with them right now. I'm not saying never, saying right now.
He will one day. But he's good where he's at right now. Gunther's one of those guys that doesn't need a belt on him.
Or if Gunther's going to beat John Cena, let John Cena take that Intercontinental title into that last match. Mm-hmm. And not only does Gunther retire him, but he takes the Intercontinental title off of him in the process, because Gunther will do wonders for that title. He doesn't need it, but he'll do wonders for that title, just like Cena did.
Full doctorate in thugonomics. I think that I want LA Knight. This is what I want to see. The final, I want to see LA Knight and Gunther. And my heart is laying on LA Knight, but everything I've seen about wrestling over the years would tell me Gunther. I think you're right. He takes the belt off Cena, leaves Cena laying on the mat looking at the lights.
Now, devil's advocate would be you're going to make whoever he beats, beats him anyway. If Gunther were to beat him, no title was on the line. Gunther's a made man. You also put Dominik Mysterio over by putting the Intercontinental title back on him. Mm-hmm. I don't think by the way, this is one of those rare scenarios. I don't think you lose in either way.
No, it's a no lose situation for WWE, whatever they do with it.
Yeah.
It's going to sell a ton of merch or a ton of storyline either way with all this stuff.
Yeah. I would love to know what you think. TappedOutPod@gmail.com. Who would, out of those four, Jey Uso, LA Knight, that's one match. Solo Sikoa and Gunther's the other. Who would you like to see end up facing? Obviously, I'm not saying who do you think is going to. Who would you like to see? Because a case could be made for Jey Uso versus Gunther in the finals, WrestleMania rematch. And what if Jey? Why are we just writing off the fact? Why not Jey Uso versus John Cena in his last match? John pushed him out of the Rumble. I mean, I'm not saying I like it, but I'm not saying I love it, but I'm not saying I have a problem with it either.
What if something happens to Jay in the cage Saturday, and then Monday he's not ready to?
Right. So, lots of things happen in the cage, man. Lots of things happen. Specifically, let's go ahead and jump into AEW talk because where we're talking cage, Full Gear went down. AEW has a new World Heavyweight Champion. Samoa Joe defeated Hangman Adam Page. He is the new AEW World Champion. I know a lot of talk was out there of like, wait, was this a last-minute change? Was this something that came out of nowhere? And it was like, nope, it was not. This is something that had been planned for a while. Main reasons why it being out there. They had kind of look. This is, by the way, Tony Khan kind of said it himself. It wasn't Hangman, it was them. They had kind of booked themselves into a corner. He didn't really have any big feuds to go, where to go next if he wins. So the easiest thing was to go ahead and make the change. Swerve Strickland returns. He's back.
Did you see how big Swerve got? Holy shit, man. I thought he's been in the gym the entire time he's been gone. Woo.
Yeah,
he
had to have been.
He looks like a phenomenal competitor right now. Totally sold over it. So,
yeah. And now you've got that kind of that triangle three-way for the title where you kind of have Swerve and Hangman both. They've got history between the two of them themselves and Joe in the mix. You got a good, top tier there mixing up, getting it mixed up there. Yeah. And, look, MJF will be back eventually. That we keep saying that, but I'm not sure when he's ever getting back in the title picture. Chris Statlander, she defeated Mercedes Moné. I thought there was no way Mercedes Moné loses this match, but shockingly, they do. They pull the trigger and let Statlander. So they must see. Even more in Statlander than we thought.
Yeah, I guess the Mercedes Moné belt group is like the old, the WWE security. You start seeing more and more indie stars and more guys like the frat house out there carrying the belts around. I'm glad she didn't win. I'm really glad she didn't win. No, she does not. If she's going to have all those belts, she doesn't need this belt too. That would hurt the significance of that belt. Would be to put it on her with all those other belts.
I think that she was the. I just with the investment and everything was there. I just couldn't see. I just couldn't see how they did it, but they did it. Kudos to them. Trios match. Kenny, look, let's just get to the punchline. The Young Bucks and Josh Alexander win, but Kenny and the Bucks are back together. Long live the Elite. So be it. You got a new TNT champion as well. In a no DQ match, Mark Briscoe defeated Kyle Fletcher. Obviously, if Briscoe lost, he was going to have to join the Callis family. But Mark Briscoe's a singles champion. There was a point when he wasn't sure, was he even going to be wrestling anymore? Kudos.
Yeah.
Hanging in there. Tough situation.
Done it, man. He really has done it. He really has done it again. Pac looking excellent. I think Pac is a legitimate threat now. And the old buddy QT had his match with that guy that eats hot dogs or whatever his name is. Big Boom.
Him and Big Boom AJ teamed as a team. Yeah. They were the Boom and Doom, and they took on RPG Vice, Rocky Romero, and Trent Beretta, easy for me to say, and picked up a big win. It was actually a very entertaining match. If you haven't seen it, I would encourage you to go check it out. And you shouldn't really, really be surprised as well. Obviously, the other big news coming out. If I had told you 2 weeks ago that Kyle O'Reilly was going to tap out Jon Moxley basically for the second week in a row, would you have bought that?
No.
Never say,
No.
obviously that's clearly setting up a huge storyline shift with the Death Riders. I think Mox is probably looking like he's he's going to be walking in and into the room and then whack. He's going to be knocked out of the Death Riders. I think at some point. The only look, I thought the show was good. It was long, and they always are. We'll get into that in a second. But it was just a lot of blood on this one, dude. This was like to have blood and guts, and then this, and so close together. I felt kind of was too much.
You know my feeling on blood. If you use it all the time, it's not special. If you jump off the top rope every match, that's not. Top ropes jumps are not special. If you change the belt every match, belt changes aren't special anymore. It's something that you reserve for a big thing, but they're using it in everything, Nick.
Well, I mean, it is look at the argument. Like, I get it. It is a big occasion. It is a pay-per-view. It's a legit pay-per-view. So big things have to happen. That doesn't mean they all needed it. That was kind of be my only pushback on a little bit, because if you're bleeding in the fourth match, they did not. I'm just saying hypothetical. If you're bleeding in the fourth match, then by the time you get to the main and they're bleeding, okay, we've seen this happen a couple times at this point. The other issue that I mentioned it a second ago, the pay-per-views are too long, right? The crowd's burned out. Some of the match order, it just kind of was big. They there wasn't the let down a little bit and come up. It was just they were big match. So, but it's come out recently, because we talked about this a little bit before we hit record about the pay-per-views being too long. And this past week, Tony Khan's basically said hey, we kind of have a deal that we have to fill some of this. We have a 4-hour block. Mm-hmm. I've got people to answer to if we do a 2.5 hour, 2 hour, 45-minute pay-per-view, we got some explaining to do.
Well, so, you're paying for it. Even on top of that, people pay for it, and customers want the money's worth. Broadcasters want the money's worth. Your net, whatever. How is it done now? It's Amazon or HBO Max, right?
Or so traditional pay-per-view. You can do. Basically multiple formats to buy it. Yeah.
Yeah, but there's people that they're selling content and they want content for it. So I don't blame him. It's just not for me. It's a 4-hour pay-per-view with that much blood. Just not for me.
I think it's easier, my personal opinion, and then we'll kind of move on. It is easier to explain too long than I paid you $60 or whatever it cost, and that thing was 2 hours, and 2 hours and 15, and you went off. You know what I mean? You'd rather have your customer saying, it was a little too much than it was, man, that wasn't enough.
Yeah.
I know that from a pay-per-view perspective. Typical live events, that is not usually my theory.
No,
not in the least. Let's get into a little bit. You talked about content. Content is king, and that, of course, leads into, we talked about it a little bit last week, but this week was a huge week in the whole Warner Brothers Discovery, sale.
I just want
and if you're reading the show notes, it does say sale part 100 because I feel like we've talked about it.
Just want this over with. God.
I got some bad news. It's not even close. We'll get into some of that. Netflix, Comcast, Paramount, Skydance, whatever you want to call them, supposedly from the rumor mill, have all put in their bids this week. We've heard numbers, $25 a share, etc. Here's the bad news. This is why I ever say it's a long time from over. Warner Brothers is not going to take any of these deals, and they're going to go back and forth. We're in the negotiations. Probably going to be multiple bids have to be put before anybody's completely happy. Because here's the thing. They're both going to have to give a little bit, and, that's just the way deals work. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on your stance, everybody's pointing out that Netflix and Comcast are pretty much the underdogs at this point.
Yeah.
Because they just don't want the whole thing. They want streaming, and they want, the studios, and that's it. But Paramount wants it all. So it's an easier Paramount situation.
They got cash. If Paramount's going to roll in there with 80% cash, like we keep hearing, and they want everything. If you've got two things that you're trying to sell, Wouldn't you want to sell both of them and then not have to do 2 deals? Do one big deal, get rid of everything.
Yeah, I mean, Paramount's a little look. They're and everybody always asks us why are we even having these, right? Why do we all keep having these conversations? Because how does it affect wrestling? I think Paramount, by the way, quite arguably could be the one that's affected. Like AEW would be the least affected by.
Yes.
Netflix, would they even want AEW? They're in partnership with WWE for outside of this country everything.
Yes.
Inside this country for Raw. Comcast kind of the same. They still got Saturday Night Main Event. And for a cup of coffee left or whatever, they still kind of have the library for WWE. So they're kind of in partnerships. And, oh, by the way, they also own USA Network, which, you know what I mean? Like, it's like,
yeah, they've got plenty of wrestling on them. I just had this bizarre thought of 3 years later, the fanboys on the internet complaining about what Paramount has done to Warner Brothers and DC. Like, they complain about what Disney did to Marvel.
Right.
I don't know if anybody's going to be happy with any of these results, but I think Paramount is the only logical move here.
By the way, USA is, it's a whole other, anyway. Paramount, they need something. That's the other thing. They look, if you're not a fan, you may not have realized that Taylor Sheridan's out. Like, he has already signed. Like, he's got a new deal. He's moving on. And I'm like, okay, that's different. So just curiosity to see how all that plays out down the road. And content's what you need. And boy, if you buy Warner Brothers Discovery, content galore that you now have for your Paramount. I mean, think about, like, do they merge HBO Max into the Paramount? Does it just become one app? They rename it? Because if Paramount, by the way, tremendous streaming service as far as the quality television shows that they have.
Mm-hmm.
They have some really good content on there. But if you can add the Harry Potter IP, the DC IP, there's a lot of stuff on there that's like, hey, that's a lot of content to just bolster your. By the way, a massive price hike would be following, I'm sure, if it was combined into one streaming service as well.
But you'd only have to pay for one. If Comcast gets it, are we going to get Peacock with their shitty interface with more stuff on there you have to look for and can't find? It's already hard enough on HBO Max to find the DC stuff I like. The animated shows.
Yeah.
I don't want to spend the rest of my life digging for old Batman cartoons. Maybe Paramount's the best bet overall.
Well, there's their interfaces. Yeah, anyway, don't get me. Their interface isn't the greatest. It's not bad. I at least can find my shit. I'm really good at the search function and like favoriting or adding to my stuff or whatever. Pick a streaming service, and just kind of go from there. By the way, Black Friday sale. I don't endorse this much. Walmart Plus, you get Peacock for as an added benefit to it. So. And it's on sale for $49, so you can get your Peacock for $49 for the whole year.
Is that another TV?
No.
Thing?
Walmart Plus is it's one of their delivery service thing you can do whatever.
Oh.
They'll deliver your prescriptions for free. They'll deliver your groceries for free. They'll deliver, just your orders for free. You get, like I said, 10 cents off your gas at all these gas stations. You get Peacock or Paramount Plus, and I specifically said Peacock for a reason. I signed up for Paramount Plus when they did a $29.99 for the whole year deal. But Peacock, my deal was ending on Black Friday this year. So instead of renewing it, I just signed up for the Walmart thing.
I'm telling you, that's going to be the only good thing about not going to WrestleCade this year is I will sit down here in the basement and try to fix my streaming services for the lowest price. Because you've shown me in all these deals I keep seeing them show me, I'm getting robbed.
Yeah. If you are paying full price month to month for all of the streaming services, Netflix not included, you can't do anything about that. They just got everybody and they don't care. But everybody else is usually running a deal. It's just that simple. But that's a whole other thing. But I even tried out a couple new ones this weekend. I signed up for a trial for Fubo, trying to get a football game this weekend. I signed up for Fox One, trying to get the same football game because Fubo couldn't get it for me. And Fox One was another one that I tried and quickly canceled when I couldn't get the game that I wanted there either. NFL, just by the way, they play by their own rules. They don't care. And if a game's out of market and you're not meant to see it, pay $500 for NFL tickets or whatever they call it now, and that's the only way. Sunday ticket. That's the only way you're going to get it.
No, but with you're talking about Fox One and Fubo and all that, they got some big deals on wrestling, don't they?
That's where I was heading. Down in Mexico, Central America, South America, the big news broke out that AAA is going to move to Fox Latin America in 2026. It's a pretty big deal when you think about it. It's Mexico, Central America, and South America, except Brazil. It's basically Fox Tubi, which I'm a fan of Tubi. Fox's paid TV show, and then the Fox One streaming platform that I was just referencing is going to get AAA content. And it's including their Triple Mania and some other of their premium events are going to be on there as well. Clearly, this is an elevation with the partnership with WWE, and then the Philippe or whatever the other company that they own is called. They're moving. They're starting to climb the pecking order. They already were probably they were arguably already the top promotion in Mexico anyway. But this is when we're talking about elevating the game. It's not about their status, what they were considered, but it's the things that they're adding. Yeah. This is WWE at work.
Yeah, you hear Conan speak so much about it. He's like, we had everything, we were doing everything right, but we just did not have the money we needed to grow. And now they have the machine behind them. And they got this, WWE giving them the access to these big deals. This is phenomenal news. I don't know how TV worked in Latin America and Mexico. I sure don't know what this deal is about Brazil. I have to ask Bob next time I see him. But how much of a rub is WWE giving these guys? It's been phenomenal for them. I want to know where we're going to get to see them here. I would love them to be maybe move them on to Netflix, something, maybe move them on to a streaming service we could get easily, or leave them on YouTube. That's great with me.
Listen, AAA is going to have a TV deal somewhere. Look, with all due respect to TNA, if they're going to get $10 million and they're going to get it, but here's my argument: if the number is low enough, and I know what I just said, if the number's low enough, and the WWE thinks they can monetize the YouTube channel and put the stuff on YouTube, they may be better off leaving it there and just monetizing it themselves on the back end on YouTube.
Well, they've done so good with the WCW network, haven't they? That they put out.
Well, I'm specifically talking, what if all of a sudden Triple Mania was available on YouTube, but you had to pay for it?
YouTube is already doing that with movies. Like, you can buy a movie or rent a movie on YouTube now. Because I've watched a lot of free stuff on there, and I've bought a couple of things over the years.
Do you remember the TNA deal?
Yeah,
they had it where they had memberships where you could get certain events if you were a paid member, etc. So it can be done. Obviously, it's just a big move. When Rey Mysterio is coming out, that he's excited about this partnership. I think it's but again, I think what this shows us is clearly this is the integration of WWE into the business of AAA, pulling off business deals and stuff that, with all due respect to AAA, they weren't getting beforehand.
No.
And this is just that, just merging of those two kind of companies coming in together and pulling it off. So I think it's pretty cool. I watched some of it. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of AAA stuff. I think it's cool that we're being, just exposed to it more.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I never got to see Lucha at this rate. I never got to see Lucha as much as I have since the WWE bought them.
Yeah. So, yeah, I agree, man. But the production level, obviously, they're raising their game. They're going to be on Fox 41, etc. But if you would like to make your production game rise a little bit, this week's Making the Drive segment is sponsored by our friends over at Video Bolt, and I'll talk about that a little bit after this word from Video Bolt. This episode of the Tapped Out Podcast is brought to you by our new partners at Video Bolt. They're the video technology company that's been around redefining content creation since 2009. Whether you're a podcaster, promoter, small business, media outlet, VideoBolt makes it easy to create professional, high-quality videos fast without a crazy price tag to go with it. They've powered projects like, from big names like Duncan, Hearst, Comcast, but their platform is built for creators just like us, so you can look just as sharp as those guys. So if you want your videos to stand out, head over to videobolt.net/tappedoutpod and use our promo code tappedoutpod to get starting today. That's videobolt.net/tappedoutpod because your video should hit just as hard as your message. That's right, man. Check out our friends, videobolt.net/tappedoutpod. Look, people always ask, like, hey, the intros, the segments, all the little things we do along the way. VideoBolt's what I used to do it. And I promise you, I'm not a production guy. I'm not a video guy. If it can make it easy enough for that I can do it, I promise you can as well. And take your podcast game up a notch. But that's just mine. But like I said, that is, of course, our sponsor for this week's Making the Drive section. So let's hop into the car. It's a Thanksgiving edition of Making the Drives, but there's going to be plenty of shows out here this weekend, to go check out. Let's start with the first one on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving tradition right there in Monroe, Georgia. Southern Fried Championship Wrestling, Ultimate Battleground. I've hit and missed. Some years I can pull off the Thanksgiving night show. Sometimes I can't. Depends on what time we're doing the meal and everything.
Always the show I never get to go to, and I always regret more than I've had to miss a couple of Southern Fried shows this year. This is the one I'm going to regret. This is going to be huge. I really, really want to be there for that. The Halen and Ashworth for the first and last spots, and Ultimate Battleground. Yeah, this sucks. I can't go. Really, really sucks.
Yeah, Jacob Ashworth had the face-to-face, with David Manders. It spilled into this, kind of challenge back and forth. Jacob Ashworth, Nick Kalen, they will fight for the last spot in the Ultimate Battleground match. Judias will take on Todd Sexton. It's been building for decades? Question mark. Todd Sexton wants one more match.
That's Bill Barron's about that one. He can probably be the only one to give us the right facts.
Probably so. But these two guys, they have been brothers, partners, friends, mentor, student, you name it. They've been there together along this ride. And how fitting, Todd Sexton says, I want one more match, and I want it to be with him. But man, oh man, you got to be careful about what you ask for, because sometimes you just might get it.
Yes.
CT Keys, he has put out a Southern Fried Championship Open Challenge. Not 100% sure, but it appears as though, as of recording, his Hunter James may be taking him up on it. We're going to see.
Don't do it. Don't do it, Hunter. Don't do it. CT's a bad man. He's just a bad man.
Listen, Hunter would tell you right now, he's collecting belts across the state of Georgia. So
he's Hunter Monet.
Yeah. Hey, I'm sure he probably would take that as a compliment, the way he's racking up belts. But again, Ultimate Battleground, Southern Fried Championship Wrestling, Monroe, Georgia, Thanksgiving night, bell time 7 p.m. right there at the Boys and Girls Club. Eat early, get all your stuff, get your food down, relax for a little bit, jump in the car and head on out to Monroe, Georgia, and check out Southern Fried Championship Wrestling. Thursday, it's a Thanksgiving tradition out there in Monroe. On Friday, Royston, SCA, bell time is 8 o'clock. Big, huge show. It's a Black Friday square. It's a square off Black Friday show. Nick Kalen versus Stevie Ray Frost for the Friday night championship. TKO will take on Caleb Crocker in a first blood match. That thing's been brewing since the attack in the backstage and the locker room. Richard Page and Savage in a karaoke battle?
I have nothing.
I've been meaning to ask you, what's your resentment? What's your issue with Richard Page?
It's just built over the years. It's just built over the years. He just rubs me the wrong way. I just have never been able to warm up to him. He's sleazy. I think he shook my hand one time and it came back greasy. It's just something about him just irks me. Now, he's a good manager.
He vexes you.
He vexes me. He's like a despicable Jim Cornette, if I can put it that way. Okay, one of the best managers in Georgia, but I mean, karaoke singing. I'm trying to get a ride to this so I can go see this. Okay, I want to watch this little shit sing karaoke, and so I can boo him. Okay, I want to boo him.
Well, there's a lot of backstory there with Savage and singing, so I think everybody wants to see Savage teach Richard Page how to sing. But hey, you never know.
Rather whip his ass.
He could have the voice of an angel. You never know. Richard Page. He never ceases to amaze me and surprise me. Match 2 in the best of 5 series. Alexander Lev versus Lucas Da Silva. Richard Page will be in Lev's corner. JJ will be in Lucas Da Silva's corner. And it will, obviously, this is the second match of the 5. The winner of this series will be the squared circle action heavyweight champion. Lev's got the 1-0 advantage. You know, I don't think you want to fall too far behind if you're one Da Silva. So I think this is, you know, you always talk about in these series like, oh, is there such thing as a must win? It's going to be a hard hill to climb if you're, you know, if you let him go up 2-0, I don't know that you're winning 3 in a row on him. And so that's, I would call this an absolute must win.
Page in his corner though. I don't know why. You know, Page stole the clock off the wall and Abdullah the Butcher's hotel room, hospital room. Sorry. I was given that news straight from Dave Wills. Richard Page stole the clock off the hotel wall. The hospital wall. Mm-hmm.
Just, you never know. Hey, there's probably a good reason he didn't want him to realize how long he was there.
Yes.
Hunter James is going to host an invitational battle royal where the winner receives a shot at the Georgia Heritage Championship. Tower and Seabolt will get a rematch for the tag team championships against Dexter and Jesse Cruz. That and a whole lot more, plus a huge announcement from James Boulevard, the consultant there at Squared Circle Action. Again, Friday night, bell time, 8 p.m. there in the Royston Dome. Check out Squared Circle Action. Saturday, up in Hartwell, Georgia, One Fall Wrestling returns to the station. If you haven't seen this venue, I'm jealous. I couldn't go to the first one because I was traveling that day, and then I'm going to miss the second one because I'm going to be out of town that day. And so it sucks. But it's a huge show I wanted to check out, so I really want to see this venue. Bell time, 7 p.m., up there at the station at One Fall. Rosario Grillo will take on JD Inc. Xavier Young will take on CJ Montana. Jack Jameson versus Karen Gray, and the winner will get a title shot versus Varia Morales for that breakout championship November the 30th. Elijah Drago will take on Michael Solar. Whatever, how that goes, Solar. Drago's a monster. By the way, had you heard it? We talked about it a little bit on the Indie Rewind segment. I wanted to get your take on this. Elijah Drago, Apex, heavyweight champion.
Congratulations. He's also in the position to become the champion of the entire state of Georgia. If people would realize what a good booking decision he is. You can't look at this. Most of these guys on this roster, hell, I'd book Solar. If I was running a promotion, Michael Solar would be the top people I would book because he gets over. It's not just about wrestling. He gets over. Fans love him regardless of where we go. You can't disguise him. He just gets over. But Drago is the prototype wrestler. Okay? Remember when John Cena was the prototype? Drago is a better prototype than anybody else. Looks like a wrestler, talks like a wrestler, acts like a wrestler, draws like a wrestler. I think Josh made a wonderful decision making him his champion. Couldn't have made a better decision.
Two phenomenal choices for his champions, Kelsey Reagan, Elijah Drago. Check out the Tap 10 show. We went into depth on some thoughts about the Apex. If you missed it, shame on you. Go back and check that out. Shoot Taylor will take on Varia Morales in a breakout title match. Jimmy Wild will take on Brady Booker for the One Fall Heavyweight Championship. That, again, is up in Hartwell. It's bell time, 7 p.m. It's a Saturday night, man. Get up there, enjoy some food, have some fun, be back home for it super late. Always a good time at One Fall Wrestling. Big one, and also on Saturday down in Savannah, down in the corner, Coastal Empire. Huge night.
Maybe the most stacked card of anybody.
Yeah, I'm gonna work around backwards on the card because I want to get to the top, to the title match there, where it's gonna take a little bit of explaining to do. DJ Smokes versus St. Julius, Xavier Cross versus Tyler Stevens, and a massive two huge dudes.
Yes.
That match should be awesome to check out. You make sure if you're not in the house, I'm gonna be out of town when this thing drops on YouTube. That'll be one I'll be looking for. Cody Fluffman versus Christian Taylor. To say it should be entertaining is an understatement.
Styles clash. Okay. This will be very interesting to see how this works out.
Yeah. Kevin Cantrell will take on J. Alpha Miller in a submission match where the winner will face the Coastal Empire champion next month at their next show. That's a tough one to pick. I'm going to go with Cantrell. Not that maybe. Yeah, I'm going to go with Cantrell. Suge D will take on Bryce Cannon. If you want to hear some thoughts, Bryce Cannon talked about that a little bit on the Tapped In show as he was one of the guest hosts this week on that episode. He'll share his thoughts there. The Allen brothers, they're going to be defending the tag team turmoil titles against Better Together, somebody we're familiar with. We caught a lot of them at Disruptor and stuff over the time, and I saw them down at Coastal as well. The Allen brothers, have been on a pretty good tear. I'm curious to see of the three who all's in that match. Match I know that probably caught your eye, Hunter James versus Simon Sermon.
Entertainment. Right there. Two of the largest personalities in Georgia wrestling in a match together. I'm sure this will be absolutely delightful to watch.
It'll be a absolute brawl as those two hate each other.
Yes.
Hunter James in an awkward situation where for some reason the fans there like him. Not really sure what's up with that. Bad judge of character, maybe. I don't know. But nonetheless, a brawl between those two. But it leads us to the main event. Hakeem Young, he is your current reigning defending Coastal Chaos champion. He will defend against Young Mighty Joe, Tommy Mars, and Chad Skywalker. That's right, 4 competitors in a Law of the Jungle match.
You told me how this works, and
yeah,
wow.
This is handy if you're a $1 member on the Patreon. This is where the show notes come in handy, but I can explain it. It's actually funny. It's more difficult to read than to understand when you hear somebody explain it. Pretty simple. They will be weapons hanging around the ring. There'll be wire to the on posts around the ring. Weapons will be hanging around the ring. It's real simple. You got to score a pinfall or a submission, and you become king of the jungle. And then and only then can you climb to capture the title. You got to remember, pinfall submission, then you can climb and try to grab the title to win the belt. However, if between your pinfall and submission and the time, if before you can get there and get the title, if someone else can score a pinfall or a submission, they become a king of the jungle. They become the king of the jungle. And only the king of the jungle can climb and grab the title. So you have to literally get a pinfall or submission, and then you can climb and capture the gold. And then and only then will you become the new, or will Hakeem Young potentially retain the Coastal Chaos Championship? Chaos is an understatement, Myron.
Yeah, this is crazy. Because when you think about it, there could be a rotating person in that spot to climb for the championship at all times. No matter Chad Skywalker is incredibly fast. Tommy Mars, wonderful talent. Young Mighty Joe, I've never seen him, but I've heard nothing but good things. And Hakeem he just kills it. So yeah, this should be a very interesting match. Probably with a great card, this would be the one that's worth the price of admission.
Yeah, Coastal Empire always does a phenomenal show. This one will be obviously a potential show stealer. Cannot wait to catch this one. I hate that I'm out of town. But again, Savannah, Georgia, bell time 7:30 p.m. at the Legion there. Coastal Empire Wrestling. Check them out. Also, big show on Saturday as well. Premier All-Star there down in Carrollton, Georgia. Bell time is 7:30 p.m. Barbed wire cage match.
Yeah.
Premier All-Star champion. Stevie Ray Frost versus the wrestling sensation AJ Black. I don't think you're getting out of this one without any blood. When you hear barbed wire cage match, it's going to be bloody.
Somebody's going to bleed. It's easy. Somebody's going to bleed.
You would think. Now, the
what
crazy
about
part of
Monsters
this,
Balls?
that's what I was about to say. I promise you, somebody's going to bleed in the Monsters Ball match as the only one, Alexander Lev, takes on Madman Mason. Oh, and by the way, to spice it up a notch, we're going to have the Atrocity Cruel in the match. So it's a triple threat between Alexander Lev, Madman Mason, and Cruel in a Monsters Ball match. Good luck, gentlemen.
Excellent choice.
Yeah.
Excellent choice. And the rest of the card is really cool looking too, man.
Yeah, Lethal Gaines, Lamar Phillips, Chris Gaines, Justin McKenzie, Ace Haven, Amy Haven, Xander Seabolt, Xander Orrick, and Ashton Martin, all on the card. Pretty stacked card there, headlined by those two, the Monsters Ball and the barbed wire cage match. Should be a barn burner of a show, man. Arguably, some people are calling this the biggest show, of Premier All-Stars history, and so time will tell. We'll see. We'll check them out as well. Again, that is in Carrollton, Georgia, because sometimes they're back and forth between Buchanan and Carrollton. So this is the Carrollton bell time at 7:30 p.m. Also on Saturday, GCW is in Buckhead, Georgia. Bell time there 7 p.m. Nick Kalen, the Game Breaker, he is your GCW champion. He's got an open challenge for his title. Who's going to be man enough to step up? Find out on Saturday night. Bad Company will be defending the GCW tag team titles. Jake Miles, the sweeper, he'll be defending the TV title. Pat Roach will be in the house versus Zach King. Tyreek versus R.C. Daniels. Jacob Ashworth's going to make an appearance as well. That is at Buckhead, Georgia. GCW, got to be Rolling Center.
Very
Bell
fun
time
show.
at 7 p.m.
Very fun place to go for a show, too.
Total Aggression Wrestling is running a show, bell time 7 p.m. up in East Denali, Georgia. Only card as of recording was Cody McCulley, Alex Keitel versus Billy Starr and Rock Rowland. They were running, again, make a note, following them on social media. They were running over Cornelia the last time. This time they're going to be over in East Denali. So check out the poster and make sure you got that correct address. Sunday is a big, big day. One Fall Wrestling in Athens, Georgia. Well, Nick, didn't they just run in Athens on a Thursday night? Yes, they did.
This might be the most interesting thing, though. They're doing something really neat. Something really neat here.
Yeah, they're pulling up to the Plaza Gate 1 at the Aikens Ford Arena for a pregame kind of a show they're going to put on before the hockey game later that day. So the bell time's 2:45 p.m. Will not interfere with the game. You'll be able to catch the show and then still get to your seat and watch the game. It's going to be Warden, Nikki 8, and Jimmy Wild versus CJ Montana, JD Inc., and Michael Solar. Jamie Holmes versus Luca Daniels and Tyler Shoup in a triple threat. Elijah Drago, Brady Booker, and QT Marshall, they will be in the house as well in action. And then I'm kind of hearing it's going to be, it's Jack Jameson or Kieran, right? Well, Nick, aren't they wrestling at Hartwell? Yes, that match will set up who will be. It'll either be Jack Jameson or Kieran Gray versus Vari Morales for the Breakout Championship at this show. So that will be determined, earlier in the week at the Hartwell show.
Big moves. One Paul. Big moves.
Great relationship working with the Rock Lobsters there in Athens. It's a huge partnership. More to come. Keep an eye out. Follow them on social medias. Get your tickets at 1fwlive.com. But specifically, follow them on social media because there's more to come. And I don't know, feels like they're running 2, 3, 4, 5 shows. It feels like a week. Just keeping up with them is it's a job in itself, man.
Oh yeah, I was talking to Scotty, the booker, not the booker, the promoter, and he was telling me about how many shows and all's going on. I'm like, man, just you got this, you can do it. I'm amazed at how much he's able to do to get so many rings and so many places and do all this. His wife's taking tickets, his kids helping. This is just a great family environment too.
The shows are all great. That's why I think they're a great fit for somebody like the Rock Lobsters and, all the stuff that's coming down the road. But again, check them out again on social media because they're constantly promoting their shows there. That's everything that I've got for the weekend coming in. I know it's going to be a wild, wild weekend. I'm heading out of town on Friday, but I'll be here obviously, so I'm going to miss a lot of shows over the weekend. We'll get into December's looking a little rocky. I'll maybe explain that a little bit on next week's recording. as to what's going on. I'm not going to be out of town, but it'll be rocky as far as to make it in a lot of the shows, specifically at the beginning of December. But hopefully, everybody has a good Thanksgiving. That's what we miss more than that.
Yes.
Keep an eye out. Like I said, I do promise you, I'm going to try to figure out something for the Patreon, patreon.com/tappedoutpod. Some kind of a coupon, some kind of a discount. I promise you, Black Friday. I know can't do this annual thing I was hoping to do. They won't let you do it on Patreon. Sorry. Again, I apologize for that. We'll come up with something. But maybe it's if you sign up, maybe I'll throw in an extra 8.5 by 11 in the month of December or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Do a discount.
Pictures of me in a tank top if you want to send some of those.
Well, we'll see, man. I don't know if they sign up, give them a discount on their first month, and give them an extra 8.5 by 11 exclusive, maybe something like that. We'll come up with something between now and then. So
best Christmas present in sports entertainment podcasting.
I think so, but I mean, like as I always say, I get it. I am partial, but again, look, we appreciate you guys. This show drops on Thursday, drops at 10 a.m. on Thanksgiving. If you're listening, man, we appreciate that. We're thankful for you guys for always supporting us across the board, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on the podcast platforms. Obviously, the friends that we have over there on our Patreon as well. It's just been a cool year. Lots of stuff changing here in the next couple of weeks. So we've talked about that, teased it. Beginning of the year, January, going to be some format changes, some shakeups and stuff like that. But, I mean, hey, thanks for being along for the ride. We're 9.5 years into this thing at this point.
Yes, we do appreciate all of your local listeners. I appreciate loyal listeners. Sorry, I appreciate you liking and subscribing. I appreciate you sharing. It means the world to us when you do that. It's so important for us to go and do that and share us all over the world.
And ironically enough, I didn't share anything as of yet. I probably should. We got shirts on Pro Wrestling Tees. I'm wearing, one that I got from Pro Wrestling, so I tell people all the time, look, there's a big sale for Black Friday on Pro Wrestling Tees. Get one of our shirts. They're there. It's Tapped Out Pod. I mean, it's not hard to find. It's Tapped Out Podcast Network. I wished the hats, etc., but I do these myself. But here's my biggest thing. We don't promote as far as our shirts on Pro Wrestling Tees much, but man, these wrestlers, dude, they're out here hitting the roads. Mm-hmm. Find your favorite wrestler, if they've got a Pro Wrestling Tee store. Because I was, having this conversation with Bryce on the Tapped In show, and we just wanted to make a point to be like, hey, if they don't have the color that you like at the show, or they don't have your size at the show, man, Pro Wrestling Tees has got every size. They've got the different colors that are available, etc. Go buy it, and they'll ship it right to you. I mean, you're good to go, man.
I got that super nice Sour Naro shirt in blue in 5X, my size. Right there on Pro Wrestling Tees. I get my favorite Bruiser Brody shirt there. I got my the Tom Pritchard star. I can't go there enough because my family keeps stealing those garments from me. But there are so many regular guys you see, both on TV and in the indie shows that got merch there. Go out and get you some. I'm telling you. And Pro Wrestling Tees stuff is top notch.
Yeah. I agree, man. But look, we always tell you, it's just a great way to support the the wrestlers who are out there. It's extra income for them, and it's kind of just a cool way to support them. So check out Pro Wrestling Tees over the Black Friday sale as well. Well, man, that's everything I've got this week. You got anything else before we get out of here?
I wanted to throw out a big congratulations to Camille and Thomas Latimer on their upcoming opening of Redemption Wrestling Academy. I've known Camille for almost as long as we've been doing this. She's a wonderful human being, and I think that would be a huge success. But that's all I've got, man.
Well, man, what's the old saying, brother? If I've got nothing and you've got nothing, what time is it?
Time to tap out.